Welcome to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas, the go-to podcast for aspiring and seasoned leaders in the quick service restaurant industry. Each week, we serve up actionable insights and proven strategies to help you lead smarter, build stronger teams, and elevate operations. Whether you're taking your first steps into leadership or refining your expertise, we're here to fuel your growth and spark big ideas. Let's dig in.
What are you laughing at?
I was thinking.
Oh.
Because we're going to talk asking important questions and open-ended questions. And I know you don't have kids, at least,
No.
not yet, or, I don't know, but asking kids questions is one of the funnest things that I think you could ever do, especially with Lily right now, because, like, everything's just, Dad, I already answered you, right? Like, how was your day today, right?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Fine. Yeah.
What did you learn in school today? Nothing, right? Oh my gosh. So this is going to be valuable because I'm excited to learn what like you're going to share, and I'm sure we'll have some good conversation around this. Maybe like a mock conversation around open and closed questions. But I'm going to tell you, it can be really it can be frustrating at times if we're not asking the right questions. And I'm just saying, like, Lily over the weekend was a bit of a grump, right? Well, she had a long weekend. It's not her fault. Like, she's young and she had a long weekend and had a lot going on and just was so short. With everything. So help
What do you want for
me.
dinner?
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. Help me, Riley, figure this out. So I'm going to leave it in your
definitely
arms.
not a child's whisperer. I don't know much about children.
Okay.
I mean, I have a younger sister, but I was just the bigger brother, the big brother who just got to have the fun,
I get it.
So.
But, all right, but powerful questions, or open, closed, ended questions. I know there's a lot of difference there, and how to pull really the best conversation, because it's not about the questions, it's about the conversation,
right?
But you have to ask the right questions.
Yes, you have to ask the right questions, and you have to be mindful of the situation. Like I don't say read the room. It's your daughter, but maybe she clearly didn't really feel like talking to you.
She can go to her room.
You may leave.
Yeah.
But no, so the two different types of questions that you hear most commonly are opened questions, open-ended questions, or closed-ended questions. So closed-ended question is, do you like the color blue?
Yes.
Do you like to go fast?
No.
So those are closed-ended. It's yes, no. It's short, like Lily was. What do you want to eat? Nothing. Those are just like closed-ended, like this answer closed-ended. But if we frame the question in a more open-ended statement, then you at least get them to think about it a little more, and they're more apt to respond in less than, in more words than yes or no. So, for example, it would be maybe like, Eric, what is your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange?
Actually. Yeah.
So, what do you like about the color orange?
I don't know. It makes me happy. It makes
you
me feel
happy?
really good. Yeah.
Orange makes me kind of think of like summer or like warm.
Actually, I was thinking like the sunrise, right?
Yeah.
Like the orange and I don't know, just more of that. I've always had something about orange.
Orange. I get that. So, like, tell me more. No.
Yeah, right?
We always say, tell me more. Yeah. But it's open-ended. It allows them to respond, and you're not shaping it. It's not a yes or no question. Essentially is the difference between closed and opened.
Sure.
So when we're talking to people, we're trying to get to know our team. When we say, oh, hey, how are you? Good. I always like the Midwestern, like, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's going.
It's going.
Well, what does that mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that on the bad scale, or is that in the middle? Like, oh, it's going. So it's like, hey, how's your day going today? Like, tell me about, something you did today or something like that. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh, you have to read the room again and make sure that they're receptive of the question.
Yeah.
But they might be like, oh, I had dinner with my family last night. Oh, that's cool. Where'd you guys go? Oh, we went to Chili's.
Sure.
Oh, was Chili's good? Like, I haven't been to Chili's in forever. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I always get this. Oh, I'll have to try that next time. And then, That's a weird example, but
No, that was a really great
just
conversation
talking
you just had with yourself.
with
No, it was,
myself.
yeah, you really
Yeah.
had a good conversation with yourself. Because I think you brought up a couple of things, right? Hey, where'd you have dinner? Most people have dinner, right? Like sometimes we don't know what to say or what to
Or what'd you
ask.
make for dinner?
Yeah, what did you have? So you talked about Chili's, and then you said you then looked to relate to the person as well. So like you did a lot of things in that conversation that sometimes we overthink or we don't even think to ask at all. How was your dinner? Good. All right, bye.
So yeah, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mine was good too. Done.
Yeah.
Right. So open-ended questions are really like the gold of conversations. Like that's where you get a lot. You can get more information out of it rather than getting closed-ended questions that don't really propel the conversation.
Sure.
You know.
So if we're relating that more towards, like, say, an operational conversation, right? Like, can you tell me more about the dinner shift, right?
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to do is, as a leader, right, versus manager, a manager is going to go in with a predetermined mindset of what was wrong with dinner, right? You missed let's just say you missed your OEPE times. You missed your times, you're slow, right? Like, I know you were slow as a leader, but you may not know that yet, right? So if I walk in there with a preconceived, hey, why was dinner so slow, versus tell me a little bit more about the dinner shift.
How do you feel dinner went?
Yeah, right. Can you describe the dinner shift to me, right?
Oh, you know, I feel like we started off pretty strong. You know, we were stocked, but then, you know, we got bogged down. We ended up getting pretty slow, and our KVS times went up by 10 seconds.
Okay. Explain why do you think it went that way?
I think it would go that way maybe because we didn't have, you know, our positions, you know, clearly labeled. And we had somebody that was running back and forth between service and kitchen, which kind of helped didn't help the consistency of the kitchen. Yeah.
Why do you think they were running between the two different areas?
I don't know.
Right. And then, but that's what, like,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden we can have this
It's a conversation.
conversation rather than it just being this, hey, your dinner shift sucked. Right. Like, if I go in there and say, why was dinner slow? Now you're going to look for excuses to maybe get me off of your back.
Well, potentially, but I think also that it could be, and it's, again, we've said it before, it's how you say it, not what you say.
Yeah.
So when you have that conversation, it's more open-ended, and just be like, hey, Riley, you know, I want to talk to you, you know, debrief dinner real quick. How do you feel it went? And again, the tone and the body language that I bring as a leader needs to be disarmed.
Yeah.
Because if if it's 7:01 and I go, kitchen, you guys were so slow, or, you know, I go back to the kitchen manager and I'm just like, oh, that was rough. You guys sucked.
Well,
or whatever.
We're not earning points today.
We're not getting points. You got to go watch our last episode.
Yeah.
That'll be way more funny if you do.
All right.
But no, it's super. You're going to be able to get more information and build trust as a leader if you tend to use more open-ended questions and have a disarming body language.
Yeah. Are there reasons to use the close-ended? Like, is there scenarios at all where we would be better suited with some close-ended questions?
Yeah. I mean, when there's going to be, I mean, you need yes or no.
Sure.
Hey, is the fridge stocked? Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Describe more.
it's like, tell me what you put in the fridge.
Yeah. And that can happen,
Yeah.
right? You may need to do those once in a while, but yeah, I think there's going to be opportunities for those close-ended ones as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if there's certain points to be made and you don't want to lead them down a path of where maybe they're uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like, I think
Yeah.
it's okay to say, hey, we're gonna have a conversation, but it might be more of a direct conversation at that point too.
And as you start to maybe break that shell down of that person and you get more comfortable, they get more comfortable with you as a leader and you get more comfortable with them, then you are able to start asking more of those open-ended questions. So that's a great point.
Okay.
You can't just jump in necessarily to them without knowing kind of where they lie on that realm, because you're requiring them to honestly be a little bit more vulnerable when they're answering open-ended questions.
Yeah. And it's true. You know, we purchased some restaurants, and this can go for any restaurant that you have. But, you know, I was talking to the shift manager, and I just talked about, like, what are your goals, right? And I could tell right away that she didn't know for sure. Like, I'm a new boss, right? She's new. We're both new to each other, right? And the relationship wasn't there yet. We don't have that trust yet. And I think, you know, we may talk a little bit more about how we can build trust through questions. But right then and there, I already knew that, like, she wasn't confident or comfortable enough to go and just share. So I said, okay, right? Like, we're looking for 120 for lunch, and here's a couple other things, and tell me more about how you usually do this, right? So instead of trying to trick her or make her feel like she maybe didn't know, I think it's okay to provide answers as well, and then maybe use our open-ended to get more context.
Yes, absolutely. More context is gonna help you build that trust, but then also yeah, you still need those closed-ended ones to at least start the conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. So how do we build trust through questions? Because I know you had that as something we shared during the pre-meeting, right? Or pre-conversation.
Yeah.
How do you build trust just simply through good questions?
We have a great episode a couple weeks ago about small talk and
Yeah.
like how what I think it's called like what's the weather,
Yeah.
Small talk conversations type thing. Because these open-ended questions you can take in any direction. You can go and get more valuable information about your peer or about your subordinate or whatever, your team, your crew, by just asking a couple of those open-ended questions. So again, it's not necessarily your close-ended or your performance or operations-driven stuff, but you're going to build trust with the team by staying curious and asking them probing questions.
Yeah.
Because people love to talk. I mean, not everybody, but
Yeah.
most people like to talk about themselves or at least, talk, water cooler chit chat. Some people like that. So being able to carry a conversation essentially is what's going to help build trust. Because if I'm a busy leader and you come up to me and you want to share something with me, you're making the initiative first of all. And as a leader, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have time for you, and I'm short. Now all of a sudden that's going to erode that trust.
Yeah.
But if I go up to say a crew person and say, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, it was good. We went to the beach. Nice. What do you like to do on the beach? I personally like to just sit in the sand.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, I really love wakeboarding. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. I have horrible balance. And I'm again, like you said earlier, relating with them, connecting with them, and having that conversation about things that aren't necessarily operations is more where that trust building is.
Okay. And I would agree. I think we can have good conversations while building that trust. And as long as we keep an open eye or open ear, right, to some of the things that they're saying. I know one of the questions I'm trying to get better at and I'm trying to do better is move more slowly, right? Like I know, there's that saying, like walk slowly through the halls or whatever, however that saying goes. Yeah, walk slowly through the crowd. And it's not the fact that I'm just going to literally walk slowly, right? It's at least how I'm interpreting it is me having more succinct, better conversations with people. So if I go to you and I say, how's the weather? You say, fine. Yep. It's sunny out. All right, talk to you later. That's not me necessarily walking slowly through the crowd, right? Like
Absolutely.
If I'm going to initiate a conversation, then let's try to initiate an actual conversation. And then from there, one of the questions that I'm starting to ask, or at least when I can, or I feel the timing is right, is what's one thing that I can maybe do to make your job easier, right? And it's funny the different responses that I've gotten just this week and the last couple of weeks as far as like, and it's really, honestly, a lot of it's very simple things. Like one of them was, Beth, she said, hey, I stand in this back cash area, 6, 7, 8 hours a week, my feet get to hurting. And I'm oh man, right? So we had a conversation around that because I'm the same way. Like if I'm standing on these hard tiles, my feet will start to hurt too. So I said, well, what kind of shoes do you have, right? And she talked about having, these $125 shoes. And she thought this would be like the answer. And it's like they're helpful, but not quite what she wanted. And ultimately she said, I'd really like just one of those mats to stand on, right? Like it'd be really cool if I just had one of those mats because I think it would make my job a little bit easier. So literally after that conversation, I ran to Walmart, bought a $20 mat and brought it to her. And I felt like, I don't know how she ultimately felt, right? Like at the end of the day, I don't know, right? But like,
you can imagine.
I hope that we helped build a genuine connection because I truly want her to be successful because the more successful she is, the more successful we are. And if we can walk a little bit slower and listen to what our people are needing from us through better questions, like I think that's the conversation, right? It's not just about asking questions. It's about asking questions to get better results and to treat each other better.
Yeah.
So we all can win here. And I don't know, I think just as I'm trying to be a little bit more precise and better with those questions, like as I'm trying to push myself to ask better open-ended questions with a purpose, you're just getting a little bit more to it.
Yeah, you're getting more out of it. And that's a great example of building trust. And I really like what you said about moving slowly through the crowd because in our industry, moving slowly is frowned upon. Yeah. So being able to take that time as a leader, and again, not that you're actually moving slowly, but you're being more cautious and more intentional with the questions you're asking.
Yeah. And it's people have a lot to say. Right? Like they really do. People want to share. People want to talk. And they want to share with a purpose because ultimately they do, right? Like most people we've said it before, they don't get out of bed hoping to fail, right?
Yeah.
So our jobs as leaders, our job within the organization is to help everyone be as successful as they can be. And you just never know. Like I've heard just things that I never would have thought of, right? Like how do you make your job easier? Hey, oh man, let's face it, I haven't sat in back cash for 6-8 hours for probably 20 years. So who am I to pretend that I know what everybody needs?
And Beth sitting there thinking, wow, this leader is coming up to me and asking me about this, what would make my job easier, and I'm going to tell him my feet hurt.
Right?
Like that's for one, a lot of, I don't want to say guts, but it's a lot of, that could be nerve wracking. Like, oh, my job's fine. I don't like that. That's me because I'm a people pleaser.
But that is a lot of what people say.
It's fine. I don't need anything. It's all fine. But the fact that she had the courage to tell you, hey, you know what? Like, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you followed through and got a mat. Yeah, there's some trust right there that's been built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you said, as a people pleaser, you like to just say everything's fine, because most people do, Riley. And I'm going to tell you, as genuine leaders of the organization, within our organization, I know you're one of them as well. Like, we don't want to hear that everything's just fine all the time.
Nope.
Like, I'm okay with you telling me goods, bads, and difference. Like, what made you happy? What makes you sad, right? Like, what can we do to make your job easier? Now, I can't promise you everything. Like I can't, like I wish everything was as easy as a floor mat.
I was just gonna say,
right?
Yeah.
Like if that's what it was, right? Like I would.
Everybody
oh my
gets
gosh,
floor mats.
You get a floor mat. You get a floor mat. We'll start investing in floor mats.
Yeah.
And I wish it was that easy, but too often people don't always tell us what they really want. And I don't know. There's just that ingrained fear. And that's why I wanted to bring up the trust part of this again. And I know we've had that conversation in a different episode, but it is super important.
It is. Because you're never going to know as a leader. I mean, I guess unless you build trust another way or find out more about them another way. But operationally and performance-wise, you would never know her feet were an issue if you didn't ask those questions.
Yeah.
So
we haven't talked a lot about body language, right? Like I hit on it with Lily, right? Like with my daughter, I can completely read her all day long, right? Like between me and my wife, right? Like we can kind of tell, okay, like, hey, Nikki, like she's yours today, right? Because you can just like we build that relationship and you just know, right? But like people have different ways that they express themselves, and it's the body language. Maybe there's some pauses. Maybe it's the facial expressions and things like that. So, like, what can we learn as we're having some of these conversations? What should we look for as leaders when trying to get people to have better conversations?
Yeah, eye contact is huge. You know, if you're making eye contact with them, and you're making eye contact, but if you were like not making eye contact with me, then I know maybe not to push too hard. You know, start off simple.
Yeah.
And again, start to building that rapport and building that connection. If I just jump in and you're like you said, like that one manager was nervous, you know, you kind of step back and went to more closed-ended questions or more, you know, directives type conversation.
Yeah.
So eye contact is huge. And if they meet you eye contact, you know they're engaged. Just their posture. Are they running around doing something while you're trying to talk to them, or are they staying in one spot, again, looking at you? Because the opposite would be that they're not in a space to either hear you or to want to talk to you.
That's a good point.
You know, if they're always constantly, like if we were talking next to each other and you kept backing away from me, that's their body language saying, I don't want to talk right now. Even if they could be answering the questions, but they might just be moving away.
Maybe you didn't shower.
Could be that too, and they're not going to tell me that.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah. Depends on how bad.
You mentioned them kind of being distracted, right? And it's true, right? Because sometimes people will be taking orders, so I'll just be like, hi, right? Kind of peek around the corner and do a quick hello. So you may need to circle back sometimes, right? As far as who you're talking to and when you're talking to them, because it's, especially if you're going to build that,
right?
You don't want to have a hard conversation or much of a conversation when people are preoccupied.
Oh, could you imagine just running back cash, and then your boss comes up and just says, oh, hey, by the way, I need to suspend you because you were late 3 times last week.
Yeah, right.
In the middle of doing something. I'm trying to be nice and get some customer satisfaction, and you're going to tell me, yeah, absolutely. Timing and are they in the right space physically?
Yeah.
To talk.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Yeah, I think sometimes come to the office. Oh, okay, invite them for some nice things too. That way, they're not always fearful of the office. But I also want to hit on like as a leader too. Like we shouldn't be distracted.
Absolutely.
I've seen a lot of our team members go have conversations with crew or other managers, and they'll be on their phone half the time. Or, I don't know, like there's distractions on our end too as leaders. And sometimes I don't know if we think about those things as we're going into these conversations. Because I wouldn't want you on the phone.
Correct.
But wouldn't you not want me on it either?
Oh, yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, the trust is also maybe like a smidge of respect too in there, like building trust and respect.
Yeah.
And so, again, body language, are you on your phone? Are you distracted? Like those all kind of bubble up into this whole conversation with these open-ended questions. And you mentioned also with body language pauses. You have to give them a little bit of time to respond and to answer. You have to give them space to do that. Because if you're just, because me, I'm pretty energetic, pretty extroverted. Like I'm just asking questions, rapid fire.
Sure. Yeah.
And that might be like totally whoa to somebody else. So again, back to your comment earlier about walking slow. Don't rush it. Like just let it be as natural as possible.
It just reminded me because we're having it was a manager crew interaction the other day, and literally the manager it was rapid fire. It was just question after question, and the person could barely respond before they were kind of pushing the next question. And it was it was a very good learning conversation with open and closed questions. But we can. Because we may have already known this conversation. We've already practiced, hopefully, especially if it's a hard conversation, we've already practiced the conversation. But we go into the conversations knowing the objective, knowing what we want to know, but it's new for that person. So, giving them a chance to really think about it is probably a good idea. Is it okay to like close a conversation and come back to it later or the next day? Or like, how do you make, especially if the person's not that comfortable?
I would say it depends on what the conversation's about.
Sure.
I mean, if you're just, again, trying to connect and you can just see that they're not either feeling it or they don't want to talk to you, maybe they had a bad day, whatever, definitely like just be like, just find a way to end the conversation.
Exit strategy.
Exit strategy, yeah. The weather, gotta go. No.
Right.
But, look at that.
Yeah. I've had it before. I'm going to tell you a quick little secret here. Because sometimes, especially when I was running a restaurant, we had certain customers that I know if I went out there, they would talk to me forever, right? Like it's like almost a trap type thing. So I would tell the team or a manager, like, hey, if I'm still out there in like 6 minutes, to like tell them I got a phone call or something. Hey, Eric, you got a phone? Hey, I'm sorry, I got to go, right?
But you still put in the work with those customers and they still came back. So
we love you, guys. I was kidding. That was a long time ago before I knew what I was really doing. So, yeah.
No, that's perfect. So, okay, back to the thing. So if it's again, just talking, conversating, and you can just tell they're kind of standoffish or they're just not comfortable, cool, like exit the conversation. Now, if it's a hard conversation and they know the intentions of the conversation and they know, and they're you can see their body language is discomforted or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I got to tell you, I don't know if there's really, if you should end that conversation prematurely.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's learning curves there, right? And I think it is okay to not always push everything, right? If it's not an urgent, immediate, like this is a fireable, terminating type thing, like I think it's okay to go and say, hey, listen, like I think we're both at a spot right now where we're not hearing each other. Why don't you think about it a little bit? I'll think about it a little bit.
Tomorrow.
Let's talk more tomorrow. Yeah, okay. I honestly, I think it is okay, especially if it's becoming heated or standoffish, or you can see the person really is
over something that's not monumental.
Yeah. If it's not an end of the world type of thing, I think it's okay. There's been a lot of those types of conversations where I've pushed and I wish I wouldn't have, like in the past, right? And I'm sure you can think of some too, but I'm sure I've broken some trust and hurt some relationships by continuing to push rather than just
let it breathe
for a sec.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Open-ended, asking important questions. I think there's a lot of power in both of these.
Yeah. Now it's not gonna be probably a very long conversation, but we're gonna try a mock conversation. We're gonna do close-ended, and then we're gonna do open-ended.
All right.
So we gotta go back and forth. So you ask me close-ended, and I'll ask you close-ended.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have a conversation with only close-ended questions.
Close-ended questions. Hi, Riley. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's new?
Nothing.
Nothing? Not even anything?
Not a thing.
Oh, huh.
What do you like to eat?
What do I like? I like food.
Food?
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, what's your favorite type of food?
Gosh, I don't really have a favorite.
You don't have a favorite?
No.
My favorite is Chinese food.
Sure.
I really like Chinese food.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So I tried to switch to open-ended.
You did?
Yeah.
All right. Open-ended. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hi, Riley. How are you today?
Oh, man, Eric, I'm great. How are you?
Good. What's making your day great?
Oh, I woke up this morning and it was my birthday.
Really?
And I had a cake on the table and I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm going to eat that later.
Yeah?
I was excited to celebrate.
Okay. What type of cake was that?
I love cannoli cake.
Cannoli cake. I don't know what cannoli cake is.
So it's like an Italian, it's a cannoli. Have you ever heard of cannoli?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know what it is, though.
So it's, I don't know, it's Italian. I don't really know what
You
it
don't
is
either? You just know you like
it's
it?
Just, it's like a cream filling and then
Okay.
the cake is like, it's like white cake, but it's got layers of that Italian like filling.
Sure.
And then it's got like, I think, pistachios on it.
Well, how did that become a favorite? Like most people say like chocolate or vanilla.
I mean, those are good too. But no, that is a good question. We used to go grocery shopping with my mom all the time. Like we would just be dragged with her and we'd always go to Valley Produce.
Okay.
And Valley always had, they have the big bakery section. And so we'd always pass through there. And when we would grocery shop with mom, we're talking like 3-4 hours. Like it was a long time.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So she would be like, "Hey, we'll get you cannoli."
Okay.
Shut the kids up, but that's
Yeah.
good. So we got cannolis, and it was just they're just good. They taste good. I don't know. And so one of the birthdays, mom found an Italian bakery in Rockford, and she saw a cannoli cake.
Huh.
And so it was one of our birthdays. I don't remember if it was mine, but
Sure.
she bought it, and we're all like, "This is so good." And so it kind of became
Now it's a thing.
Now it's
a tradition.
a little bit.
That's really cool. Yeah. What a great tradition. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Open-ended.
Open-ended. That was a good one. Nice.
Yes. But it's true, right?
And you just learned a whole lot.
I did. And that's the fun thing. Like when you ask the right questions with the right intent and you stay like you can learn a lot about each other and about your team. And the team can learn a lot about you too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I don't know. I think
Open-ended
it's a good-
questions.
Open-ended.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to listen, learn, and lead. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.